Hey everyone, it's Simon Hurley here, and we have Rina K along with me, and we are doing the first episode of our podcast, which is super exciting. I'm super excited to have her here and kind of chat along with her. We're going to continue that video that you guys loved kind of with this really awesome podcast series, which I'm so excited for. I don't know about you.
I am too. We're already such good friends. We've literally been sitting here talking for like 2 hours about just everything. So we figured we should turn the camera on and keep talking.
Yeah, so with our podcast, we're going to have an audio version. So if you want to download it and listen to just the audio, you totally can. And here on YouTube, we're going to switch off. Each episode is going to be on one of our channels. This one's going to be on mine. And we are going to be crafting with some products that are in front of us. We won't talk about them too much, but if you are watching along with us, get out your stamping supplies, and we are happy to join along with you and craft alongside of all of you, which is super exciting.
Yes, and eventually we're hoping to get some guests. If anyone wants to hang out with us, sit between us.
It's a little bit of a tight gap, but we're totally available to have guests.
Yeah, we'd be pumped, please. Please, Jennifer, please. For our products today, we are going to be using the brand new Gina K Designs and ThermoWeb Stamp and Stencil system. Now, this set is called Autumn Wishes. It has these trees and the stencil, so you can stencil on all the leaves. And then you have this beautiful pattern to do backgrounds. And then over here we have the winter set, which is called Wishing You Joy. And there are general holiday greetings, but then there's also obviously Christmas and very fun winter designs.
I'm so excited to like throw some ink on these. And
I'm excited. We've just been sitting here watching them like be pristine, so I'm really excited to get into it. I'm probably going to use the winter set.
I'll probably use this.
Okay, I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna use it.
That's how it's set. We might as well at this point.
Okay, so we thought we would chat a little bit about kind of our lives growing up in the stamping industry when we were little kids, and then now kind of in high school and college. And we're going to kind of dive a little bit deeper into our stories because I don't know about you, but whenever somebody asks me how I got started, I have this really generic answer that I say every single time. And so you'll learn a little bit more about us in today's podcast because we're going to go a little bit deeper into our actual stories rather than just I walked down the crafting aisle and found ink.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think that because we're so young, we don't have a lot of time in this industry, like, to really get to know it. But I've been stamping since I was 2. Mm-hmm. So I have seen it through and through, and I definitely, like, when I came back into it, obviously it's so much more fun. There's so much more stuff now, and, like, I have a fair amount of memories that are connected to stamping throughout my childhood and everything. So, yeah.
You got started with Gina K, and I started when I was 11. But I did a lot of crafting before that. Mm-hmm. So even though I started card making when I was 11, I did art since I've been a toddler.
I feel like all roads lead to stamping.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's jump into the stuff and let's talk about our lives.
So I did not make that many Christmas cards last year, and I think September is the perfect time to start because then they're ready to go. And when I'm freaking out about not buying presents for everybody, I'll have the card ready to go. At least I'll have one, maybe. We'll see.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but when I was really young, I was not a great kid. And, like, I've matured a lot, and I think this industry has really helped me grow and kind of mature as well. But I was awful. I was, like, this little kid who didn't know, like, how to control his energy and I was, like, anxious and always, like, angry. Like, for no reason, too. But what about you?
You know, I was actually a really shy kid. Like, I was one of the shyest kids. I, like, could not talk to adults. I couldn't talk to people. I'd always just, like, hide behind my dad. So, like, I feel like I was always just more inclined to be at home. Yeah. And when I went into school, I actually had to stay back a year because I missed the deadline going to school. My birthday was 7 days after the deadline. And I could answer all the questions right for early entrance to school, but after every question I asked, "Where's my mommy?" And they were like, "All right, we don't think she's socially ready for school yet." And my mom was like, "That's fine, we'll stay at home and stamp."
Oh my gosh,
so
that's awesome.
That's what I would do.
And I think that's how it goes for most, like, creative kids too. Mm-hmm. I feel like either you're really loud and obnoxious, aka me, or like you just are really quiet and kind of like
didn't know how to find friends to do anything else. Stamping was there for me.
I don't think that's a problem, though. I think that's kind of cool. I think it's cool to see kind of totally different, like, energy levels and things like that. Because I was always, like, the loud one in class. My voice is just always really loud.
Oh, really? Did you, like, whisper in class?
It tried to. Maybe tried, but, like, didn't work. So I'm just using my inks here to ink up my stamps, and I'm gonna blend some ink together too, which is always fun.
I'm gonna stamp a few of these images on here because I just wanna test the waters here. I definitely got more like crazy when I got into swimming. Swimming is like what took me away from stamping, just because like, I remember I was in art class in high school, and my art teacher was like, "You're really good at art. Like, you should think about pursuing it." And I literally was like, "I am going to be an athlete. Like, I am not the artist. Like, I will not be doing that." And here I am now, crafting.
Oh yeah. I think though too, with me, it was always like whenever I got into an art form, and I know a lot of people say this, but it truly is like, it would calm me down. It would give me a situation that like I could control. So before card making, I did paper beads, which was fun. I crocheted for a little while. I did polymer clay.
You used to crochet your stuffed animals
My own
or
stuffed
something.
animals.
That's cool.
Yes. Yeah, it was really cool, but then every time I would quit it because like there wasn't the industry that there is behind like card making. And like I enjoy like film and stuff too. I would always talk to myself, which is weird.
That's okay.
But it's good, you know, you need your own advice.
Yeah.
But I would pretend like I was like filming tutorials, I think because we grew in like the age of like YouTube and like sharing. And so I always wanted to do it. And so I would like film myself on our old camera. We came across some footage a little while ago. But it's really funny, and it's kind of weird how it turned out.
It's funny too because making videos, I always loved making videos when I was little. My friends and I would make like music videos and like weird little vlogs that are thankfully lost from time. And they're just like, those were like the most fun days, like sitting down and making a video with your friend. And that's how I feel like now.
Totally, yeah. And it's cool now that we're able to like do it as like kind of a job too, which is really fun because I always was into acting too.
Oh,
and
really?
so now
That's cool.
being able to do our like own kind of filming thing is almost kind of similar to that, which I think is cool. So do you remember the time that you uploaded your first video?
I do remember when I uploaded my first video. I remember I made it on Windows Movie Maker, as I did with all my childhood videos. And I remember this terrible part where I like edited it. I just like edited it so wrong. It was like I had to do this like, I was talking about how I really hate when things aren't neat. And then as I'm talking about that, my inks are in the corner and all the names are going the right way, but one's crooked.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like talking about, I'm like, I keep things so neat. Like I'm so conscious about like setting things up and all that stuff. And then I looked down and it was like a mess. And the way I edited it just is like, it did not work.
That's me too. I mean, okay, everybody thinks that we're like super neat, but I don't know about you, but now with my craft room and filming, if I need to get a video done and the back is mess, you just take it all and slide it all down right to the floor.
Yeah.
There's a big mess on my floor.
I always like sit on the floor and then the craft supplies like corners me and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's stuff everywhere. I need to get rid of this. Cutting that? We have a die that you could have used. This set comes with dies. I mean, you're already there.
I'm already there.
I'll be die cutting mine, so we'll show them.
Wow, I'm the worst.
Just know that this has a die.
It has a matching die, and you could line it up a lot better than I did. So I wanted to talk about this just in case if we have younger crafters or people who are like scared about uploading their first video too. Because I remember when I uploaded my first video, I went to my friend's house right after, and I was like, oh, like look how cool this video turned out. And like, I knew it was kind of like a weird thing, but like, he was like, you should probably delete that. And I was like,
what?
I was like, what? And
You're not going to subscribe?
I went home and I did. I actually deleted that first video, which was bad. Don't do that. Keep your video up. And I think I went home and I filmed another video because the first one was bad. Like it should have been deleted. But
it was a fair review. It's your first shot.
It was a fair review of my video. But I think at that time I was just like so like cared about what other people think. But when you're uploading your first videos, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be great.
And you just have to like think about all the work you put into it. Like editing a video takes a really long time and like it's not the easiest thing to listen to your own voice for 4 hours. Like messing up things. And so when you get done and like whatever it looks like, you're always
proud
just
of
like,
it, yeah,
you should be proud of it because it takes a lot of like work to do that.
Yeah, and I think after I did my first videos, I didn't tell anybody about it for a little while, except maybe my family knew. They were all very nice,
you were
very
like a
supportive
closet
about
vlogger.
it. Yeah,
like
really.
all their stamp supplies in your room.
Until it got to like a little bit bigger, because I feel like in our day and age, it's like people judge you so much because they're like scared of like the unknown or like anything that's a little bit out of the ordinary. But like my advice to you is to like go for it because when you actually are successful in what you're doing and you love what you're doing, you're going to be happy anyway. So just don't listen to what anybody else says and upload your first video or, do whatever makes you happy, because I think it's really cool.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
Okay.
It also helps that we're in like one of the coolest industries. Where
Definitely.
it's very, very supportive. It's not like I'm trying to go
100%.
into like
Yeah, and even if
some
people,
other community.
Yeah, even if people around you aren't supportive, our industry totally is. So
Yeah.
you'll have people backing you up online and really supporting what you're doing, which I think is so cool about it as well.
And now I'm going to be using the detail stamps in here. I'm going to be using this one for the ornament, and then these little like flower veins for the flower. And I'm going to be embossing them.
Nice. And I'm going to go in with some of my inks, the Simon Hurley Crate ink, and I'm going to use the blender brushes through the stencil to create that kind of cool design in the background, which I think is awesome. So I'll just go into here. And I think even that like annotation of like it being like a weird thing carried through to high school too. And I think right now we live in such a weird age where it's like when you get to like new places or you meet somebody new, it's like they search up your handle on social media after they're done meeting you and then immediately like
Make a judgment,
everything about you. And it's like, you don't even know me yet.
Yeah.
And
First of all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And like the first day of high school, people search up Simon Hurley, and so that comes up, which isn't a bad thing actually. It wasn't bad when I first started school, but it was weird because like people would know me before I even knew them, which is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's a weird kind of thing to be in, a situation to be in, but I think it's kind of cool. And people would pick on me at first about it. When I because I was still kind of first starting out then, and then now it's like silence. You have to like do it until like they can't pick on you anymore because what you're doing actually worked out.
Yeah.
We're able to do this, which is really fun.
Yeah, we get to stamp.
Oh yeah. I'm excited that I get to like do what I love now for a job. It's really cool to be in such an amazing industry while doing it too, which is awesome.
Don't mind me, I'm just looking for my heat tool. Yeah, I feel that. I was in business school. I had to go to this sales training class where, by the way, it was a 3-hour-long lecture once a week. None of the content was taught in class from the book, but the test was only on the book. I
don't like when people.
It was pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie, but.
Or when they take like vocab that they haven't taught you, but they make you write it down, and then that's what the test is on.
And you're just like, okay, well, like, why couldn't that just be on the syllabus? Like all the
Exactly.
words, I would have studied those. But I get it. But I was in that class, and everybody was introducing what they were doing because a lot of them were like finance or like marketing and stuff. And I'm in marketing, and we all had to stand up and say what we do. And so a lot of people, there were a lot of people with startup companies, a lot of people with internships, a lot of people just doing big things. And then I was like, I make YouTube videos. And then I was like, my mom does YouTube. And like, at first everyone was kind of like, what? But then I was talking about it, and I was like, tutorials are really like good, and they're fun to watch, and it's fun to I watch makeup tutorials. I watch videos of people just sitting and eating to feel like I'm eating with someone. So I feel like the type of content has changed a lot. So there's a lot more that you can do with it that's not just showing people how to do something.
And I think so much of it too, with the younger generation, I think that they don't like this because it's like, oh, it's not for our age or things like that. And I think that's like the kind of stigma around it, but I think it's so cool. And the reason why I kept through it is because it was like, I wasn't doing this for anybody else. I wasn't doing this for money, of course. I worked for 5 years without making anything.
Yeah.
But it was just something that like helped me get through, because I was in a lot of therapy when I was little, or not therapy, like counseling kind of stuff for like my bad behavior or things like that. And I didn't like that as much because it was like, I didn't like somebody like telling me like things to do with my life or things like that. But like
doing breathing exercises.
Oh yeah. But with crafting, it was like something you could do on your own that helps you out. It's like a form of therapy, but it's cool because you get to create stuff too that you get to send out to people to make them happier, which I think is so cool. It's
also very interesting. I said in my last video that it's cheaper than therapy. It's actually not, because I get way too many products. But it's definitely like my favorite type of like unwinding at the end of the day, because
Yeah.
I'll get home from class and just be a wreck, just in bad shape, and I'll just like, I know I have homework to do, I know I have other things to do, but I'll just be like, all right, I'll just sit down and make like a mandala, or like I'll color
100%.
something. And it's really funny too, like, because it's hard for me sometimes to be like, get my friends on board with stamping, because they're all 22 and just doing other things with their lives. And I invited a bunch of my girlfriends over, and I was just like, well, why don't we just stamp for a little bit?
That's
Like, why don't
so
we just
awesome.
like color? I'll stamp something for you guys, and you guys can just color it. And I keep forgetting, like, coloring is still a really big thing to do. Coloring
Yeah.
is so relaxing. And, you know, just as an example, like, my best friend Isabel, she lives in Arizona, and neither of us had any money for Christmas gifts. So I made her a coloring book with the amalgam ink and the mandala maker.
That's awesome.
And it was just like a little like stress relief kit.
That's amazing. Embossing, if you're new to crafting, emboss something, that will blow
That
you
was
out of
one of the
water.
things that like got me into stamping. It was that, because I did not know what I wanted to do with my life, and my mom was
Yeah.
like, well, let me show you a few things. Because I have embossed. When I was little, I would emboss, and I remembered that. I liked stuff that was messy,
Yeah.
like the shaving cream technique. I love doing that. We should do that one time in here. That would be so much fun. But I would like stuff like that, so embossing powder was really fun. And then my mom showed me the wreath builder and foil. And I thought foil was the coolest thing, because it just makes your card like, I think a lot of people picture like Hallmark cards and like
Yeah.
detailed designs and stuff, and I didn't realize how like nice you could make cards look with all this stuff. And
Yeah.
like, it's so satisfying. It's like a quick project to do. I missed embossing some of this. Yeah.
But it can turn out so cool in the end, which I
Yeah.
think is really awesome. And people don't realize that you can do foiling and do all those things to make it look like a really awesome project, which I think is so cool that you can do that. Well, I don't know, like, I'm not really good with seasons. So, like, I just kind of go through the year and just kind of live life. I don't know. No, actually, that's such a lie. I don't like winter. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard.
Yeah, see, I try to play devil's advocate with winter, because I get it. The roads are terrible. They're after Christmas. It's not fun. Like, it's cold. I've had to walk across the Mississippi River every day on campus in the middle of winter, so I know how cold it gets in the winter. But I still would rather be too cold than too hot.
That is
like,
true, yeah.
Because I lived in a house that didn't have AC or a front doorknob, for that matter. It was an old college house, and there was really nothing going on in
Yeah.
it. But
You can always pack on more layers.
yeah, and you can always grab a blanket and stuff. It's just hard to cool down
Yeah.
when it's hot out.
So I don't know about you, but was there any like kind of turning point in your crafting career or like in the industry where you like really thought that it was something that you wanted to pursue and like something that you thought was really awesome?
I think it was because I got into it after my mom showed me all this stuff, but I wasn't like into it yet. You know, I was just kind of like exploring what it was. But I think now that what makes me love it so much is classes.
Yeah.
Classes, you get to see everyone, you get to hug everyone, you get to just talk in person, and you get to just craft with a bunch of people that you've been following online and
Yeah.
that you know. So it's super fun to do that. And then I just spent, it's fun being business partners with my mom, just
That's
because
awesome.
like we just travel with each other and we just do these events. But it's funny because like in classes, like my mom and I are both really introverted, so we just like to be by ourselves at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And classes, like we have to teach 4 classes sometimes, and I love them, but by the end of it,
It can kill
we're
you.
tired, and we'll have these fun classes. We're great, we're laughing, everybody is stamping, we're talking to each other, we're sharing our life stories, and then we come at home and we literally just sit in the hotel room and do not talk
Yeah.
for like 6 hours after. It's so funny.
Because it's like you love it, but it's kind of draining after a while after you do a couple of them, but it's so much. I agree with you. The classes are kind of the part that makes it so awesome. It like re-inspires me, even though I'm the worst with names. So if you're at a class and I don't remember your name, I'm awful at that. I can't even
I'm bad with names too.
I'm the worst. But I think that's one part that I really think is cool. And I think that another part that's super cool is like seeing your designs kind of come to life and seeing like other people create with them. I remember with Simon Hurley Create, when I first made my first stamp set, I remember getting the package or the box really late at night. I ran into the house, I was like, this is the stamps, and I pulled
Unboxing.
it out. And I just stared at it for like 20 minutes. I was like, this is so cool. Like, I can't wait to see people use them. And then in January, I was psyched to have people have their hands on them and create stuff that was super cool. And a lot of times, like, I'll have a vision. I don't know about you, but I think this is kind of how we mostly design. I'll have a vision of some cards I want to create with the stamp set, but then people like take their imagination and do some really cool things.
And I'm just like, why didn't I think of that, dude?
Exactly. Somebody, I think it was Jess, she's on my design team, she turned the trampoline stamp set that I have into a pool, which I thought was so cool. Yeah. So there's some really cool things you could do with
people are so creative. That's where I'm like that's one of the things that, like, in this industry that I love to see is just how good everyone is. Like, with coloring and stuff. I could never. And, like, I'm so happy that stamps are pretty and you don't have to, like, it doesn't take a lot of work to make a nice card. Oh, that's so pretty. How many colors are you using on the background?
3.
Oh, wow. It looks like so many. I love stenciling. I can't believe how, like, artistic I feel when I reveal a stencil.
It's so easy too, and it's so cool with like inks that are like translucent like ours, because you can blend and then make new colors in between. So this was 3 colors. I think it was Slippery When Wet, Overzealous, and Bee Sting, and it looks like a ton of colors in there, which I think is awesome. I think that product line was one of the kind of turning points for me in the industry, just because there have been so many things that I have like wanted to create with. Like, I made some more masculine images with the Dudes 2 set. And then these really bright kind of inks that are a little bit muted, but still really bright. I just like didn't see a ton of stuff like that out in the industry. And also with my inks, I wanted like a water reactive ink that you could do techniques with, but that also stamps really nicely. And so I think we really did a good job with that. And that's been like so cool to see that in other people's hands, like we've been talking about. It's amazing to see like other people's coloring and their creativity with a product line that you've designed, which I think is so cool.
My mom used to, when we were younger, we'd go on cruises because she was in Stampin' Up, and a lot of times you can like, they have like stamping vacations and stuff like that.
Fun.
So we would just, run around on the ship while everyone was stamping. But we had an actual cruise one time where my mom and 2 other companies were doing it with her, and we were in charge of the classes, handing out stuff, and I was like 8, and I just remember like part of the vacation, one of like the best memories of the vacation was running around at the end of it. It was the last day we were all in the conference room and just like giving away everything we had left on the ship. It was so much
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, and it's really cool that you got to like start out really young in the industry with your mom. I think that's so awesome that she introduced that to you at such a young age. A lot of people ask when they first meet me and my mom if she introduced me to crafting. And the answer is like no. She did a couple of scrapbooks, but then she like gave up on mine because, when you're the 3rd child, you don't really get a scrapbook.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to keep you alive.
You get a picture with Sharpie written on it.
So she didn't introduce me to crafting, but like she was a teacher, and we always did like little crafts. So she didn't introduce me to like card making or anything, but we would always have stuff to do that was creative with our hands, which I think is so cool.
So yeah, school's really starting this week. There's no going back at this point.
And then, did you just start this week?
I started, last week was like syllabus week, we had to do our icebreakers.
That's the worst.
My icebreaker in one of my discussions was, what's your name, your major, where you're from, and if you like Seinfeld, yes or no? And I was like, yes. I don't know what that says about me.
Answer to get an A, like.
We're also in accounting, so what? Like.
I'm back in school. I started maybe 3 weeks ago, I think. But it's a lot of fun.
Ago?
It's
oh my gosh.
Senior year, which is good. I'm graduating a little bit early, which is going to be really nice, so I can kind of continue on this route, which is really awesome. But senior year, it's rough.
It is rough. It's a weird time.
Yeah, I feel like you just no longer want to be there. I love the school, though. I love all the teachers and all the people there are super awesome, but you just kind of want to get out when you're a senior.
Oh, yeah.
I'm taking all pretty fun classes, though, too, that I really enjoy, which is good. I got like English classes and different things like that, which is really awesome, which I love. Unfortunately, I already took too many art classes, so I don't.
There's no more left.
Yeah, exactly. I took all of them.
Have you taken like sculpting and stuff?
I took ceramics.
Like ceramics.
And ceramics too. And then that's the end of ceramics for us. But I couldn't take AP art since I was graduating early, but I didn't really want to because.
I feel like this is AP art.
Yeah, this is my portfolio. You already can see it.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool, though, that were able to make videos and kind of go to school. Is it stressful for you too?
I've had many, like, I feel like my Mondays are now my Sundays, because I just do my video all day on Sunday and then post it, and the next day just chill.
Nice, yeah.
Even if I have class, I don't really, like, I still just relax after it because it's such a long process, but, you know, that's a fun day. You can just sit and relax and think about what you're going to do next. I love the planning process for videos where you're just like, all right, what can I do?
Yeah.
Like,
that's so awesome. Yeah, and for me, a lot of people ask me how we do school and this, and I always just say, like, every single time, you kind of make time for the things you love, and I'm sure you know this too. You got to stay up sometimes in the middle of the night to make this video, to make it come out the next day. But, like, if you love it, you're going to love kind of creating and doing that, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and you can be, like, proud of, like, your result. Because I used to swim, and, like, when I was in college, I would have to be in bed by, like, 8:30, no later, because if I didn't, I would just be horrific. You know, I realized, like, becoming an adult, one of the things that defines you as an adult is that when you're laying in bed and you know you have to get up early and you start counting down how many hours you'll sleep for the night if you fall asleep right now, but you're so, like, stressed you can't even sleep. I did that so much. But, like, with videos, I don't mind staying up late. I like staying up late, getting the video done, and it's so satisfying when it's done.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've definitely had some nights where I'm like, it's 11:30, and I just finished planning my cart, and now I need to film.
Oh my gosh, I'm such, like, a night person, so even when I was on, like, design teams, I would wait till, like, the last second to create my video, to edit my video, and then the video had to be up the next day. And I was just like, at like 4 a.m, you're just walking back to your room, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go sleep now, and I'm gonna wake up at 6 for school tomorrow.
Yeah, I would send my video to my mom. I'd just send her an email with just the video title and the link, and she's
awesome.
like, oh God, like, I hope this is okay, because it goes up now. I remember once she called me because I was doing a video and I left my air conditioner on in the background so you could just hear it, like, screaming in the background. And she was like, Rina, you need to redo your intro because you can hear it. And I knew I messed up. I knew that as soon as I made the video. But then, like, I remember I had, like, a test that day with school and stuff, and I was just like freaking out on the way back home, and I was like, I just don't know if I can do it in time. And then I just wiped my tears away and filmed the front shot, and it was fine.
Oh my gosh, when I think about fall, I think about homecoming because that's coming up really soon.
So I went to this girls' choice dance. It's like, it was called Snowball. And
where the girls ask guys, right?
Girls ask guys,
Okay.
girls pay for dinner, like, girls do it all. And I asked my friend, one of my good friends from high school, we're still friends today, but I remember I was just so excited to go, and I asked him, I, like, made this sign. I used Gina K products to make the sign.
Oh, yeah.
So crossover. I made this sign that was just like, I don't want to be chicken. I didn't want to be too much of a chicken to ask you, or something like that, you know, some
That's
pun.
hilarious.
And I got him, like, a McChicken and chicken nuggets and stuff. So, like,
I would love that.
bringing Mishi in because he's just interrupting my story. This isn't about you right now. So, we all meet for dinner. We all get, like, dinner. I paid for dinner because it was girls' choice.
Nice.
And then we get to the dance, and not a lot of people were going to this dance because it was the winter dance, and you kind of, like, had to have a date for the dance. It wasn't really like homecoming where you could go single. So I show up. It's like they close the doors at a certain point because they don't want people, like just showing up late and leaving early. It was just, like, a more strict dance, I guess. And I see all of my guy friends walk in except my date. And I'm just like, what happened to my date? I just saw him, like, 10 minutes ago. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, guys, like, what happened to him? Where did he go? And they're like, oh yeah, he got sick and he's not coming.
Oh my god.
And apparently he was, like, at their friend's house, like, super sick and just, like, over the toilet. He just, like, got, like, bad food poisoning or something.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
Stop, don't be mean. And so I was like, you know, cool, but also screw
not
that
fun.
because I'm here alone. So I sat upstairs and ate Oreos for, like, 2 hours by myself.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It was pretty sad, but, you know,
Hey,
memories.
Oreos are good though. So.
And I still bring it up with him as a joke. Like, on his birthday, I tweeted at him and I was like, happy birthday, like, hope it was better than my snowball.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
But it's okay. Those are like funny memories,
Yeah.
I feel like, when stuff like that happens. Because at the time, I was like, my world, I got ready, I glued eyelashes on, like.
At least you're able to joke about it now, too. I think it's always hilarious when you have something bad happen, and then later on in life, you're able to, like, bring it up with that
Oh,
person
yeah.
and have a little inside joke, which I think is funny.
Yeah. All my friends were just like, he tweeted the next morning, he was like, so Snowball was fun.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like,
I think for us, homecoming, I remember my first homecoming was very hot. We were all in like one little room of, actually it's a big room of our school, but it gets insanely hot, so we would always go outside for like breathing breaks and then go back in for one of the songs, go outside and go back in, and now we're not even allowed to go outside anymore because we did it too many times that one year that everybody is inside.
oh, really?
Now, yeah, you either stay in or you leave, which is, I think, is kind of funny.
What I'm learning also from doing this is that everybody stamps at different paces.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
Simon can crank out a project, and I'm still like, oh, I need to redo that die cut.
The funny part about that is I've always worked like incredibly fast, which is weird. And I talk, like I'm able to easily talk. I remember in the last video that we did, I got a lot of comments that were like, I love how Simon can still kind of like teach his way through even when he's like rushing in a 10-minute challenge.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious because it's like in every art class that I've taken at school, I'm always the one who's like talking to every single person in the class, but I'm able to like, I would do like one project and get that done. That was the assignment. And then I would go in and like, make 3 other projects while everybody else was creating, which I think is so funny.
That is funny.
I would get mine done my first day, and then I would literally get, love you, art teacher, but like I would literally get graded off for going too fast, which I think is hilarious. But they always ended up good, which I think is so funny that I would get graded off for that.
I remember I took an art class. It was like a general art class where you kind of like got a taste of everything.
Yeah.
And I was in ceramics at the point.
Oh, nice.
And I made this pot that was the ugliest pot. It was lopsided, it was crooked. I tried to do this like narrow bottom that went out, but it
Oh my
kept
gosh.
going out, and one side was like longer than the other. It was horrific. It like broke, it like exploded in the kiln.
Ceramics is very difficult.
Ceramics is traumatizing.
It is.
And like you either can do it or you can't. So I couldn't. And I just remember I was moving from our hometown at that point. My best friend Logan, we were really sad that we were leaving each other. And I remember my mom is so proud of all the art I do, but that pot was the bane of my existence. And she would put it on display in our house.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And I remember he came in the house and he was like, well, this is a lovely piece. Like, what designer made this? And I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, and then when I moved, we would always write letters to each other in class, which is what I got in trouble in for school. I would
Oh my
always
gosh.
gossip and write notes.
That's hilarious.
But we would write notes to each other, and I wrote him this like goodbye note, and I put it in the pot and left
Oh
it on
my
his
gosh.
house when I left. And he literally texted me. He's like, dude, I don't want this. Like, now I have to
Oh my
deal with
gosh,
it.
I was in ceramics class too, and ceramics 1. So it was my first time in ceramics, and I decided we had to make a pot that was like textured. And so like what other texture to use than your fingernails, of course. So I was like digging my fingernails into the pot, and there was all these like little divots around the pot, and it looked, it was like mediocre, very bad actually. And then I put it in the kiln. It was fine the first time you kilned it. If you don't know, you like kilned it at first, and then you put the glaze on and then kilned it again. I put the glaze on it the second time, and then we had it in the kiln. And I took it out of the kiln, and I was like rubbing my hand on it, and it's supposed to be smooth. But since I did it with my fingernails, I rubbed my hand on it, and I actually have a scar on my fingernail.
Oh, did you like scratch
Because
it?
I rubbed it, and then my skin just came off. But it's all good now. But that's the funniest thing ever, because my teacher now, I left the pot in her room. I was like, use this as a teaching point. Tell kids not to do this. And she does. But she gave me the pot with candy in it. She gave the pot to my friend, and the friend gave it to me with candy in it for my birthday.
Oh,
which was hilarious.
That's funny.
Which is the funniest thing. And I was scared to touch the thing after I created it because I cut myself on it. But now
I'd be scared of it too if it drew blood.
it's awful. So now it's sitting on our mantle in our fireplace. It doesn't look bad, but nobody's allowed to touch it. It's sitting there.
It's the cursed
and
piece.
it's beautiful, but not good to touch.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many different looks you can create with just a stencil. Stencils are so versatile.
They're one of my favorites. And Simon Hurley Create, we have a line of maker stencils that's similar to this, but instead of like being a stamp set and you just have the stencil and you're able to like create, it's almost like stamp layering, but just with a stencil. And even with these two, I think it's so cool that we're doing stencils like this now because you're able to spend like $5 and make a ton of stuff, which is so awesome.
Yeah. I like stamps that you can get like a ton of use out.
That's what we try to do with our stamp sets too, and even here you can see that too. You like include as many images as you can that you can create a ton of different cards with, which I think is super cool.
It's always sometimes the image that you don't expect to be your favorite too.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm learning about the wreath builder. Like there's always something where I'm like, ooh, if I turn it this way, it'll look cool.
When people use it too, you're like, oh my gosh, wait, now I have to do that because they just showed me something that makes my stamp set 100 times better, which I think is hilarious. Sometimes when that happens.
Getting a lot into the negative space just because like...
I think that's a good tip to give people too, is I think that when you're first starting card making, especially like a little while ago, I think a lot of people thought that they had to do like a million layers to get a good card.
I totally feel that way.
But
I'm
like,
always like, oh,
yeah,
it just doesn't have enough.
But you can make like a really cool card, like add some inks and then leave a little bit of white space. And like once you do that, like this is so cool with that grounding space right there. And the white on the side looks really awesome. So here are the 2 finished cards that we created using those awesome new sets with Gina and Thermoweb. Here's mine. I did lots of inking with my Simon Hurley Create inks and stamping with the stamp set as well, which I think it looks really fun.
So my card, my card took me like 2 hours to make, and I had to redo some of the die cuts a few times, but you know what? This is the life I signed up for.
So if you guys are listening to us, you can definitely see the projects that we created over on our YouTube channels or check out the finished projects on our Instagrams as well. We're going to be switching off the videos on YouTube, but we'll both have playlists with all the episodes as well. And I'm sure as we go, we'll learn a little bit more, but today was so much fun. And I hope you guys really enjoyed kind of being with us and crafting along with us today with our first episode of the podcast.
Yay!
I'm so excited.
It was so much fun, yeah. And these cards are a lot better than the ones we made
out
before. I think these ones are a little more planned, even though I'm already going to be mauling mine after the camera turns off.
We're definitely still learning with our podcast, and each episode will get better and better. So be sure to leave comments down below. And if you enjoyed this podcast, what you would change, different tips and tricks, we would really love to hear all of your comments down below. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. I'll have a link down below to her channel as well, so you can subscribe over there. And we cannot wait to see you guys very soon in another episode of the podcast.
So thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.
Have a great day. Bye.